All right, we have a house full. I call this meeting of the Magnolia Independent School District to order. Let the record show that a quorum of board members is present, that this meeting has been duly called, and that notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with the Texas Opens Meetings Act, Texas Government Code Chapter 551. If everyone will please stand while Sonia leads us in our invocation.
It has been our long-standing tradition to pray before our meetings. Father God, thank you for the blessings of our Magnolia community. Please place a hedge of protection around our students, teachers, and the constables that protect us. Please be present in our meeting today and continue to bless this community. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen. If everyone will continue to stay standing. At this time, I'd like to have our students of the month, Isabella Osborne from Bear Branch Intermediate and Kylie Vircher of Elsner Elementary to please come forward and do our pledges. Isabella will start with the U.S. pledge, followed by Kylie with our Texas pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor
The Texas flag.
I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
All right. So now I'd like to have Elsner Elementary Principal Kristen Boyd please come forward and present our elementary student, Kylie Vircher.
Mr. Adcox, Dr. Stevens, and the board, thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity. I would like to introduce Kylie Vircher as Ellisor Student of the Month. Kylie is joined here tonight by her mom, Ashley, her twin brother, Gunnar, her dad, Zach, Jackie, Hadley, and Julia. Also, she has some fan clubs from the school, Miss Escamilla, Miss Miles, Miss Masicek, Miss Riley, and Miss Wilson. Kylie is a fourth grade student at Ellisor Elementary. She has been at our campus since second grade and is an excellent role model. I already said she has a twin, Gunnar, and outside of school, she loves playing outside and jumping on her trampoline. She shared that math is her favorite subject. When Kylie grows up, she would like to be a doctor, but she's undetermined on the specialty, so stay tuned for that. And she is not sure where she wants to go to school for that, but also she's got some time. And here are some things that our staff had to say about Kylie. Miss Escamilla, her reading teacher, said, "Kylie is probably the kindest student in my class and one of the sweetest students I have ever had. She always has kind, positive words for her teacher and her classmates. She looks for ways to help others every single day. She does her work with tenacity, and her grades show it. She always gives 100%. She is a friend to everyone, and I have never heard her say one negative thing about anybody else. She is liked by all of her peers, but always shows humility when I brag on her, kind of like right now. She exhibits all 4 of our character traits. Miss Miles, her math teacher, said, Kylie shows all 4 character traits daily. She is so kind to her peers and is always willing to lend a helping hand. You can always count on her to show integrity in every situation. She comes to school every day ready to grow her brain. When given a challenging task to complete, she never gives up. She is an amazing student. Miss Riley, our counselor, said, it has been such an honor to know Kylie the past couple of years. She is a smart girl with a bright future ahead. She is hardworking, responsible, and motivated, who puts all of her efforts in everything she does. She is a leader in the classroom and a great role model for her peers. She strives for success and treats those around her with kindness and respect. I'm so proud of you, Kylie. And Miss Anderson, her math teacher from last year, said, Kylie is an outstanding leader and student. She is a role model to others academically and socially. She is one of those children that can easily be cloned. She is so kind and helpful. She is fun to be around and an excellent student to represent Ellisor. She is an outstanding young lady who exemplifies each of our 4 character traits: tenacity, compassion, respect, and integrity. We are honored to present her as our Student of the Month for Ellisor Elementary and Magnolia ISD. Kylie Vircher.
All right, now I'd like to have Bear Branch Intermediate Principal Connie Falinsky come forward and present our secondary Student of the Month, Isabella Osborne.
Thank you, Board of Trustees, Dr. Stevens, and Mr. Adcox, for allowing us to stand up here and brag on these kids. We don't get to do it often enough, but when we do, it is kind of a big deal. It's such a big deal that I think we have half of our 5th grade student body here. It feels like it. So she has a little fan club here. Can y'all all wave real quick? Very good. All right. And then we have several of her teachers. We have Miss Eslick. We have Miss Adams. We have Miss Haynes. There you are. And I know Miss Fleming is here with both of her boys way in the back. Glad you guys are here. We also have Mr. Ramirez, who is our librarian, but also her GT person. We have both of our counselors, both of our APs. Everyone's here for her tonight. And I could not be more pleased. So her dad is traveling. She has 2 brothers, 2 older brothers. One is at Yale working on his master's, and one is at Texas A&M. Every time. So a little bit about Bella. Besides all of that, when we first asked her, we said, tell us a little bit about your family. And she said, my family's kind of weird. And I said, okay. And she goes, well, because my brothers are a lot older. And I said, that's all right. Her mom is here. This is Mrs. Osborne. Some of you may know her. She teaches at Bear Branch Junior High, and so she's here tonight, and Dad is on the road. Bella is a 5th grader at Bear Branch Intermediate, and she checks every single box of being an excellent student. She has fantastic attendance. She has incredible grades, and her behavior is spotless. She deserves this. When we interviewed her, she walked out of the room, and we all looked at each other and went, yeah, she's the one. She's the one. She believes that the most important character trait is kindness and selflessness and putting others before herself. And I think that her team of friends that are here tonight is proof that she does just that every single day. She has several teachers who've said things about her, but I will point out a couple of them so that we're not here all night. Miss Adams, her language arts teacher, said that Bella is the type of student every teacher loves to have. She's a dependable person who loves to learn. She's extremely focused, goal-oriented, and driven to achieve. She's dedicated to doing her best and helping those around her do their best as well. And then on the other end of the spectrum, Coach Markentel, her PE coach, said that Bella is kind and respectful. She comes in excited and ready every single day. She has a confidence about her that I wish I had at her age. She carries herself very well. She always interacts well with her peers and is always able to find solutions to conflicts that may come her way. Outside of school, she loves to play basketball. She's getting ready to take up volleyball, but basketball is her favorite. Math is her favorite class. I know Miss Eslick's excited about that. She does love she wants to be sure everyone hears this. She loves all of her teachers, but math is her favorite. She would love to go into engineering when she grows up, but she's not yet found a school that's just right for her, and she said, I have plenty of time to decide that. When I asked her, I said, what is it that you want 4th graders coming up to Bear Branch Intermediate to know? And she said, I just want them to know that they're leaving elementary school and it's not that scary. Just know that if you're nervous, all of your teachers will be awesome. And that's, again, just another sign of her kindness and her selflessness that she puts out there for everyone. So, Bella, we're super proud to name you as Bear Branch Intermediate Student of the Month. Proud of you.
All right. Dr. Garza, are you ready?
Looks like it. All right, good evening, Dr. Stevens, Mr. Adcox, members of the board. It is my pleasure to introduce our March Teacher of the Month, and this month is Val Engelkey from Nicholsaw Elementary. Ms. Engelkey has probably what I consider to be one of the toughest jobs in the district. She teaches pre-K. And I have a 5-year-old, and I can't imagine dealing with 15 of them. There's just no way. She's been with us for 12 years. She started off as a para with us, and now she's been doing pre-K for the last 8 years. I know she's a pillar at Nickel Sawmill, and not only that, when we come to district leadership for pre-K, she is the one we go to for all pre-K things as a lead teacher. So thank you so much for your service, Ms. Engelkey.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, all of you, for allowing us to do this tonight to celebrate our incredible teachers. Mrs. Engelkey is definitely one of those. And I will let you know that Dr. Garza did come to read to pre-K about 7 years ago. And y'all, we haven't seen him since. So he wasn't kidding when he said that. I'll just tell you that. So Mrs. Engelkey has her fan club here sitting on the second row tonight. And I just want to let you know, one of the kindest teachers that you have ever met. I know sending children to school when they're 4 years old is a big deal. And Mrs. Engelkey puts their fears to rest with her big hugs and her huge smile. And just all the way around, team player, always asking Mrs. Quinn, what can I do for you? Always. And she's got these little things all over, and they're running everywhere, and they're doing, and it doesn't matter. Mrs. Engelkey is just that type of person. So, Ms. Engelkey, thank you for dedicating your life to making our little ones and the best that they can be, and for setting their foundation for an incredible school year.
I was blessed to work with Christy James in PPCD as a para about 14 years ago. And going into her classroom and seeing her love that she had for the kiddos and their excitement, I was hooked. And I went back and got my alternative certification and started teaching my first pre-K class in 2014. When a kiddo comes in and they think that they can't do something, and we do not use that word in our classroom, we'll say maybe can't yet, or when I try, I will learn. And to just see that when that clicks, it's magical. We have some very amazing teachers here in Magnolia ISD and throughout. To be amongst those and to feel like you're making a little bit of a difference in a kiddo's life, it's very humbling. I think teaching is the best profession because there's a lot of things you can do to make a difference, but teaching has a lifelong impact. If you're that teacher for a kiddo, just like I have a teacher that comes to mind, Mrs. Easley, my 4th grade teacher that embedded in me my love of reading, I will never forget her. And just to think if you can impact a kiddo in that way and just let them think there's nothing that they can't do or accomplish, what's better than that? I think that pre-K, when we provide an environment for them where they have purposeful play, where they are learning, and we get to expose them to things that they might not be able to otherwise because of resources or what have you, and to bring that into the classroom. And through our Magnolia Education Foundation and our grants, they've given us some amazing tools to use. Like, for example, this week, we brought the beach into the classroom. And quite a few of my kids had never experienced the beach. We took a virtual field trip. We dug in the sand. We found seashells. It was pretty awesome.
Pre-K, am I right? Magnolia Education Foundation just wants to thank you. You set the tone. You're the pre-K teacher. You are the first teacher some of these children ever have. And the rest of their education, and especially their elementary career, starts with you. And that is such a big responsibility, and clearly you're running with it. So thank you so much for all you do for the kids and for our little babies, because that is, as a parent, that's the hardest year to let them go. So, and it ends really quickly, believe me. So thank you so much. On behalf of the Magnolia Education Foundation, HEB, Gringos, Chick-fil-A, and Canes, congratulations on being the Teacher of the Month.
See. Okay. All right. I think Dr. King.
All right, good evening, Dr. Stevens, Mr. Adcox, members of the board. Thank you for having us here tonight. You guys can come on up. My name is Ben King. I'm the Executive Director for Student Services for the school district. It's been my pleasure over the last few months to be able to recognize the SROs who work in our schools. So Dr. Stevens and the board, many years ago, I think, had the foresight to say, you know what, we're going to place a constable from our Montgomery County Constable's Office in every single school. And nowadays, it seems like, that was just a stroke of genius at that point. Our constables make us feel safe. They make our teachers and our staff and our students feel safe. But they also serve an important role to show that our constables and our law enforcement in our community are here to serve us and to also have a good relationship with us. Because oftentimes, if you're like me, you're like, oh my goodness, I was speeding or I was doing something wrong, and here our officers show up. And so sometimes that can not leave the best feeling, but then when you get to work with these folks one-on-one and you get to see what they do in our schools and you get to see what they do with our students and our staff, you have a new appreciation for them, and you can see what a great relationship they have with our students and all the things they do to serve our community. So again, it's my pleasure to present, and I'm going to hand it over to Dr. Baker, but this is Deputy Smith, who is at Parkway Elementary, and Deputy Chaston, who is the SRO at Bear Branch Elementary. Dr. Baker?
It is an absolute honor to be able to recognize this man tonight. He came with his beautiful wife, Janice. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much for sharing your amazing husband with us every day. Obviously, Deputy Smith comes every day ready to protect and serve. And I can tell you one thing he's not afraid of: pre-K. He is all up in their business whenever we need him. In fact, not that long ago, we had a lot going on at our campus, and I just knew we were going to need some extra hands at pre-K lunch. And so I messaged him. I said, hey, I know this is a really odd request, but do you think you can make your way down to pre-K lunch? And the response was, I'm already here. So he is absolutely amazing. Our vision at Magnolia Parkway is every student, every day. And he goes above and beyond serving and protecting us physically in a safety aspect, but he is there serving kids every day. He is walking the halls. He's visiting classrooms. Whenever we have new students that enter the building, you will find him in the cafeteria sitting with them, because when you sit with Deputy Smith, you then become a very famous person. So they immediately have lots of friends to surround them. So thank you for everything you do for us each and every day. You are amazing. You actually have a fan club here tonight. So if you are here from Magnolia Parkway to celebrate Deputy Smith, if you could stand up and let him know how much you adore him. So, and I've already requested, he is not going anywhere. Janice, he cannot retire yet. Again, that's already been established. So we're keeping you around.
Thank you, Dr. Baker. So many of the same sentiments are true for Deputy Chaston. One of the first things that I learned when I moved to Bear Branch Elementary as principal was that our SRO had 3 children that had went through that campus. So that meant so much to me, and it means so much to our community. I would first like to recognize Deputy Chaston's wife, Jenny, and their 3 boys here tonight is Carter, Owen, and don't know the other one's name. What'd you say? Grant. Sorry about that. So much to remember. If I could describe this man in 2 words, it would be relationships first. As Dr. Baker said, he is involved, and the other word would be engaged. This man is in our halls. He's checking doors. He's sitting with children at lunch who need a little bit of extra support. I have a handful of children that wouldn't make it to their classrooms every day if it weren't for him holding their hand from the time they get out of their vehicle to the time that they then get back in that vehicle at the end of the day. So again, if you're from Bear Branch Elementary tonight, I know we've got a fan club as well. Would you please stand back there? I know we've got PTO representatives, we've got admin, we've got a parent or two, we've got some kids. And on behalf of Bear Branch Elementary, thank you, sir.
Okay, so I do have one more person to thank, and that's Constable Chris Jones, because without him and his partnership with our school district and with Dr. Stevens, I don't think all this would be possible. So they're a great partner to have, and we're thankful to have him working hard for our school district as well. So thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. And real quick, so Deputy Chastoon, there you go, sir. Thank you. And Deputy Smith, thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
But, and they made a wise choice, I might say. But what I'll say is thank you for your choice of such fine, outstanding men and women that you helped bring to us in those roles. And it's made a huge difference since we decided we were going to take this leap several years ago. So thank you, and gentlemen, thanks for what you do in our campuses. It's greatly appreciated.
Dr. Stevens, School Board, thank you for this opportunity. My name is J.D. Byrne. I'm the Athletic Director for Magnolia ISD. Come on up, boys. It is my honor tonight to recognize the Magnolia West High School Mustang basketball team. Back-to-back playoff appearances in the last 2 seasons to go along with 38 wins during that time. They were 10-4 in district and 19-10 overall. They are extremely hardworking, relentless, and tough when it comes to their play on the court. These athletes have set the bar and expectation of where the basketball program should be year in and year out at Magnolia West. We're extremely proud of these men. The 2022-2023 basketball team were by-district finalists. They had 6 all-district selections and 6 academic all-district honors. We are extremely proud of Coach Hornsby and this group of young men. And now I'd like to introduce Coach Hornsby, the head basketball coach at Magnolia West. Coach Hornsby.
First of all, thank you, Board, and Dr. Stevens for having us. It's really an honor for us to be here to show appreciation to these young men. They're outstanding. It's been a heck of a 2 years. As Coach Byrne said, we were by district qualifiers for the 2 years in a row, and I can't stress to you how wonderful this group of young men were. It's been an honor to be their coach, and it's truly an honor to be here to recognize them. So I'm going to introduce them to you. First of all, number 2, John Coleman. Number 3, Brandon Taylor. Got called into work tonight. Number 4, Parker Smith. Number 5, Eli Portalis. Number 10, Xavier Portalis. Number 11, Brandon Beavers. Number 14, Brett Wright. Number 15, Javion Kimball. Number 20, James Elwanger. And unable to be with us tonight, number 25, Dylan Swearingen. And I wanted to recognize a couple of young men. Coach Burnett kind of brought this up a little bit with the academic all-district. We have 5 academic all-state recognitions, starting with honorable mention, Dylan Swearingen. Honorable mention, Brett Wright. Honorable mention, Elijah Portalis. Honorable mention, James Elwanger. And first team academic all-state, Brandon Beavers. Just to give you an idea of what that is a 7-semester average of 92 or above, for them to be considered for this honor, for them just to be nominated, and for them. I've been doing this for 31 years, and I've never had more than one or two actually accept the award, and we had 5 this year. So that just shows you what kind of quality we have in front of you tonight. Thank you again for having us. I appreciate it.
Good job, guys. Coach Nelson and the Mag High swimming and diving team, please make your way up. As they make their way up, I'd like to first recognize Magnolia West High School swimming and diving. We had Jacob Rakovich, who placed 4th at the state meet for swim and in the 100-meter butterfly. And he is unable to be with us tonight, but I wanted to give him a shout-out that he made it to the state meet at that time. But as you can see, I've got Magnolia High School swimming and diving up here. Year in and year out, MHS swimming and diving team has become accustomed to being on the award stand at the state meet, and this year was no different. With several athletes breaking school records along the way and some outstanding performances, the Magnolia High girls finished 3rd in the state of Texas in the state. So that's a round of applause for those ladies. To be great at something, it takes a lot of hard work and practice. That's exactly what each and every one of these athletes have done. For example, 5:30 morning workouts. Anybody? And then not only 5:30 morning workouts, but coming back for more after school. Countless hours in the pool, swimming, working on their craft. They've done an unbelievable job. Y'all have done an excellent job of representing yourself, Magnolia High School, and Magnolia ISD. And at this time, I'd like to introduce Coach Nelson. And Coach Nelson, by the way, is the District 21-5A and the Regional Coach of the Year. And he's done an outstanding job. Yep, that's. We're proud of him and this group of men and women and how they represented Magnolia High School. Coach Nelson.
Thank you. Good evening. Thank you for giving me the honor to introduce these kiddos for the 2023 school year. First, I would like to recognize the Magnolia High School swimmers. All of these young ladies combined, like they said earlier, placed 3rd in the state as a team, as a whole, and very proud of these young ladies. First, we're going to start with Claire Culberson. These are qualifications for the state meet, how they got there, what they swam, because it's pretty difficult to even get to that meet. So I'm going to list what they swam while they were there. Claire Culberson qualified in the 200 medley relay, the 500 freestyle, 100-yard backstroke, and the 400 freestyle relay. Sarah Culberson qualified in the 200 medley relay, 200 individual medley, 100-yard backstroke, and the 400 freestyle relay. Emma Huma qualified in the 200 medley relay, 200-yard freestyle, 500-yard freestyle, and the 400 freestyle relay. Olivia Suarez qualified in the 200 medley relay, 200-yard freestyle, 100-yard butterfly, where she set a new high school record, and a 400 freestyle relay. We also bring 2 alternates to the state meet in case something happens, somebody gets sick or something like that. And these girls have put in a lot of work, a lot of effort, and so they deserve to go. Summer Reinecke and Megan McCauley. They're not here, but I really wanted to recognize them. Finally, I would like to recognize the trainers on the team. Both of them have been by my side the entire school year, putting in tough work, helping me out. Without them, I would have a very tough time getting splits, keeping up with important items and getting head counts while in Austin or traveling trips. Kenna Eisenhower and Bella Incasino. Next, we got the boys. Here are the boys of Magnolia High School swim team who placed 6th in the state as a whole. So we're proud of them. First, I would like to mention Jacob Bigler, who broke a new record on the men's side of diving for Magnolia High School. He placed 3rd in the state and helped the team out a whole lot with all those points you got. So just Jacob. Next, we have Josh Brooks, who qualified in the 50 freestyle, 100 freestyle, 200-yard freestyle relay, and the 400 freestyle relay. Then we have a freshman, Jack Culberson, who qualified in the 200-yard individual medley, the 500-yard freestyle, the 200-yard freestyle relay, and the 400 freestyle relay. Next, we have Dylan Gray, who qualified in the 200 freestyle relay, the 100 breaststroke, and the 400 freestyle relay. Next, we have Gabriel Lewis, who qualified in the 400 freestyle relay. Next, we have Nicholas Moylan, who qualified in the 200-yard freestyle, the 500-yard freestyle, the 200-yard freestyle relay, and the 400-yard freestyle relay. I would also like to recognize the alternates for the boys. They were there for support and also warmed up with the team and was ready, just like the 12th man A&M, to stand by and be ready. Holton Simmons and William Hoffman. Congratulations to the Magnolia High School swim team. Good job, guys. While they're still up here, I also, Coach Berna did this earlier, but I would like to recognize Magnolia West High School as well. Jacob Rakovich, who is not here this evening, qualified in the 50-yard freestyle and the 100-yard butterfly, also breaking the school record at Magnolia West. So, thank you all very much.
All right. I can tell you, as a former swim parent, it is as much a commitment on moms and dads in that particular sport, especially when your kiddos are not old enough to drive, and you get to be the unpaid Uber. And they're wonderful hours to keep. Basketball, how many of you guys are coming back next year? All right, I'm going to promise not to be quite so loud in the stands. It's hard for me not to tell the ref when they're wrong. So that's a sport that's really tough for me. Travis stays away. He sat by me one night and then he moved. So, all right, Mr. Medina. You're good.
Mind if I do this? Thank you, Mr. Adcox. Members of the board, Dr. Stevens. My name is Bob Medina. I'm Director of Fine Arts here at Magnolia ISD, and it's an absolute honor to see Ms. Engelke. Are you still here, Ms. Engelke? Yeah, I was a 4-year-old kindergartner, 16-year-old senior. Whew. Wow, what you do with those littles makes all the difference in the world. And here it is for me, 30-plus years of teaching and all that. Teaching is the most noble profession. Thank you, Mrs. Engelke. Thank you. We have some incredible students here. I call them my littles, but they're not as little as yours. But I received a wonderful letter in the mail. It just warms my heart to congratulations, it says. The following students' artworks were selected to be part of the 2023 Texas Art Education's Youth Art Month exhibition. I'm like, well, that's awesome. Where is it? And as I kept reading, it said, this exhibit showcases pre-K through 12th grade works of art from across the state of Texas. Students from around the state will be exhibited at the Bullock Texas State History Museum during the entire month of March. And we have two very, very talented students. We start with Skylar Cosme, and Skylar's the daughter of Dean and Emma Cosme. Her teacher is Sheree Goff. Sheree has 28 years of teaching experience, 24 of them here at Magnolia. Unfortunately, Ms. Goff could not be here tonight. Her father is not well. But I asked for a little snippet of this wonderful student, Skylar, and her mom wrote, art has always been her passion. She not only draws, but paints and sculpts and crochets using her own original designs and carries her sketchbook, hooks and yarn almost everywhere she goes. She is always creating in one way or another. She's a Girl Scout, an on-point ballerina, and was recently accepted in the National Junior Honor Society with a 4.0 GPA. We are so very proud of her. And that's the artwork that Skylar did. Yeah. Oh, you have the other one? I was just testing you. Can you flip to the other one? That's the work. I was just testing you. See if you were paying attention. We now have Kaylee Diaz. Kaylee is the daughter of Ismael and Liliana Diaz. Her teacher is Alexandra Chavez, who's been a teacher for 13 years, 4 of them here with Magnolia. And it is said from Kaylee, I moved to Texas 4 years ago from California, and I've been doing art since I was little. It's fun, and I have a lot of ideas that it helps get out. I want to keep expanding into other art forms. Would like to get into crochet, for example. Interesting. If you've ever been to Magnolia Intermediate, Ms. Bertrand, where are you? Miss Kay, right? Every day she crochets. I love that young lady. She's the best. And as we continue, it says, I have a pet cockatiel named Kiko, and I'm the oldest of 5 brothers and sisters. Some of my other hobbies are reading and skateboarding. You don't have to be just excited about one thing, right? But when you find what really interests you and just give it your all, amazing things happen. And that's the picture, yes? Yay, ladies and gentlemen, Kaylee Diaz. I'm going to get a picture right here. Kaylee and Skylar. Back in the fall, we live in a pretty large state, yes? It is certainly not the size of Rhode Island, but it's a large state, and it takes a while for the filtration system, if you will, to work its process, especially when we're talking about the all-state process. There's the all-district process, then the all-region process, then the all-area process, and then the all-state process. This particular process for both band and choir starts with approximately 70,000 students across our great state of Texas. When it is all said and done, just over 2%, less than 3% of those students end up being an all-state musician. If you are one of our 8 all-state band or choir students, would you please come on up? You know, I got here 6 years ago. They didn't have this many kids standing up. What a testament to the faculty, both in our band faculty and our choral faculty. And you know what? These are some cool kids. That's what keeps me young. Some super cool kids. Let's start here. This young man right here. This is Mr. Aiden Clark, and Aiden is the son of Brandon and Michelle Clark, and his band director, Patrick Beavers, writes, before I get into that, Patrick has been a teacher for 10 years, 8 of them here at Magnolia ISD, and his first year as the director of bands at Magnolia High School. What's interesting is Patrick has been with Aiden since Aiden was his first day of 6th grade band. So Mr. Beavers writes, I've known Aiden Clark since his first day of 6th grade band in the fall of 2016. 6th grade. He's a senior. Since that day, Aiden hasn't stopped working to improve as a musician and a student. Aiden is a two-time All-State Jazz musician on trombone, has performed as a member of the Region 9 concert bands, jazz bands, and orchestras on numerous occasions on both trombone and euphonium. I'm not going to tell you that for the last couple of years he beat the 6A's on euphonium too. That's a whole other story. Is in his second year as a member of the Jazz Houston Jazz Orchestra, has been recognized as an outstanding soloist at jazz festivals across our state, was a marching member of the Genesis Drum and Bugle Corps after his 7th grade year. Pretty awesome. Was accepted into the Jazz Institute in New York City this past summer, and in addition to all the accomplishments and accolades, Aiden has maintained a great work ethic and positive attitude throughout his musical journey in Magnolia ISD. Ladies and gentlemen, Aiden Clark. Two over on my right, your left, is Mr. Ismael Magana, who is the son of Ismael and Sonia Magana. Ismael is a two-time All-State musician on clarinet. He was a member of the 5A Symphonic Band in 2022 and was the first Magnolia ISD student ever to make the TMEA Sinfonietta Orchestra this past month. He's a pretty good player. Ismael is also a member of the Magnolia High School Jazz Band on lead tenor saxophone and has been a performing member of the Region 9 concert bands, jazz bands, and orchestras on numerous occasions. Ismael is a member of the Magnolia High School Clarinet Choir that will be traveling to Indianapolis next week at the end of the month to perform at the Music for All National Festival. He has a bright future in front of him and couldn't be more proud of his accomplishments. Ladies and gentlemen, Ismael Magana. If you can pull off a bow tie, you got my vote. Isn't this guy sharp? Isn't this guy sharp? And I told him that as soon as I saw him. Jacob Salmon. I changed his name when I met him to Salmon, but it's Salmon. Am I correct? That's right. So Jacob Salmon is the son of Alan and Betty Salmon. He earned the title of All-State Musician for the first time this school year on trombone. His drive and hard work to accomplish this goal was infectious in the band room over these past several months. If you ever needed to find Jacob, all you had to do was look in a practice room. He's also a member of the Magnolia High School Jazz Band and has been performing member of the Region 9 concert bands, jazz bands, and orchestras on multiple occasions. Jacob has served on the Magnolia High School student leadership team and continues to exemplify what it means to be a student leader. The future for Jacob is bright, and wherever he goes, he will represent Magnolia ISD well. Ladies and gentlemen, Jacob Salmon. Staying with Magnolia High School for just a moment, we turn to our choral department. The choral department is under the tutelage of an incredible human being, Jennifer Franz Milady. If you've never seen Miss Franz in action, you are missing out. An incredible artist, an incredible educator, an incredible pianist, one of the most demanding yet fair educators I've ever come across in my many years as a musician, and I will miss her terribly as she retires. Thank you, Miss Franz. This year, the Magnolia High School Choir had 3 All-State vocalist choral students. Stephanie Duke is over on the end there. Stephanie is the daughter of Roger and Monica Duke, and she'll be attending Oklahoma State University as a music education major. She was a member of the 2023 TMEA Mixed Choir, and her vocal part is alto 2. She's a 4-year member of the MHS Chorale, member of the chorale when they performed as TMEA's Honor Choir, and 2022 North Texas Madrigal Festival Honor Choir performance. Stephanie was a featured soloist for the Magnolia High School Chorale Madrigal Festival competition in Dallas, where they placed first runner-up. I watched 7 hours of Madrigal performances for the first time, and I got there on the second day. And when I heard our kids sing, it was phenomenal. First runners-up. Stephanie is a member of Texas Future Music Teachers Association, and she studies with Judy Boyder. Ladies and gentlemen, Stephanie Duke. I bet you if you ask any one of our athletes, they would also tell you, I'm involved in other things as well. Well, Stephanie also plays tuba in the Magnolia High School Wind Symphony, and she's awfully good at that as well. Bravo, girl. Our second All-State choral student is Miss Isabel Luscombe, also known as Izzy. She is the daughter of Justin and Samantha Luscombe, and she'll be attending Sam Houston State University as a music education / performance major. Hey, that was my major. Yeah, nice. She's a 4-year member of the MHS choir program and a 3-year member of chorale. Isabel is a 2-time TMEA All-State mixed choir member, 2021 and 2023, and her singing part is alto 2. She was a featured soloist in 2022 TMEA Music Conference, where the high school chorale was an honor choir, and at the 2022 North Texas Madrigal Festival. She has also attended the Kristen Chenoweth Musical Theater Camp in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. Isabel is a member of the Texas Future Music Teachers Association. She studies with Judy Boyder, and one of the coolest ways that I got to know Izzy was when I was teaching in the jazz program. I said, I need some jazz vocalists, and she was one of the first ones to walk through the door. If you haven't heard her sing, keep an eye out for this one. Ladies and gentlemen, Isabel Luscombe. Our third choral all-state student from Magnolia High School is Miss Tessa Marsh. She's the daughter of Melanie and Ted Marsh. She's a junior this year. She was a member of the 2023 TMEA Treble Choir and was the 2022 Sophomore Girls Division winner for the Greater Houston National Association of Teachers and of Singing competition. Tessa was a featured soloist at the Holiday Roadshow for the MHS Choir Department and is a vice president of Texas Future Music Teachers Association. She was also a 2022 Classical Singing Competition semifinalist. She studies with Julie Boyder. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Tessa Marsh. Brought a cheering. That's buddies back there. That's nice. We have some outstanding students throughout our district. It really is an honor to have the opportunity to visit over 14 campuses, seeing our little ones from Miss Engelke's little teeny tiny ones, all the way through seniors, who they're still kind of tiny in my book, but you know, young kiddos. But when I have a chance to visit Magnolia West High School, these two programs, the band and the choir, literally share a wall. They're right next door to each other. And so let's talk about our All-Staters from Magnolia West High School. So our all-state band student from Magnolia West is Mr. Steve Fuentes. His director is Mr. Andrew Hicks, who has 10 years of band experience and is a first-year director of bands for us here at Magnolia West High School. Steve is the son of Annie Fuentes. He's the member of the Magnolia West High School Band and Percussion Studio and a 3-time Texas All-State Band member. Steve was, now what's interesting about Steve is his nickname. Does anybody know his nickname? Anybody? Fellow? Anybody? Silent Steve. How many drummers do you know that are silent? Well, you know Silent Steve. It gets great. Steve was chosen for this prestigious honor through a competitive process held this year across the state, across the district, region, and area levels. He's a student of Jordan Masters and plays at the school under the direction of Mr. Hicks. Steve has a prestigious distinction of representing the Magnolia West High School class of 2023 as the class valedictorian. Oh, where's Steve? Over here, sorry. But wait, there's more. There's more. But wait, there's more. He will be attending Rice University for engineering on a full ride scholarship. Ladies and gentlemen, we are incredibly proud of Steve for his academic and musical accomplishments. Coach, when you were talking about your 5 All-Staters here, you know, you and I both know these kids get up at the crack of dawn. They spend more time with us probably than they do at home most of the school year, and it breaks our heart when they walk across that stage. We're very, very happy to see them graduate, but at the same time, it's like part of us is leaving with them. And we couldn't be more proud. Please know that these students, every student that you encounter here in Magnolia ISD is working towards a goal. And we may not understand it immediately, but if we just give them the tools that they need, keep the right thing, they'll find their way. They'll find their passion. They'll find their path. And we see it every month here, but we see it every day throughout our district. Steve, super proud of you. Man, Rice, full scholarship, and you're a drummer? What? That's awesome. No, he's not. He's a percussionist. It gets better, kids. Our final All-Stater of the night is this gentleman right here, who I met as a saxophone player. This is Mason Clarkson, and he's the son of John and Belinda Clarkson. He is a 4-year. In fact, he's the first student in the history of Magnolia ISD to make the all-state either band or choir or orchestra, the first one ever in the history of Magnolia ISD to do it 4 times. This man right here. He's been a member both of the Magnolia West High School Choir and band programs all 4 years. Academically, he's in the top 10% of his class. He's been a leader in both music programs, serving as choir president and drum major for the band. Musically, he's the first one, as I said, first 4-year All-Stater in Magnolia ISD's history. The first outstanding performer for a vocal solo at Texas State Solo and Ensemble Contest. The first featured All-State soloist at TCDA, Texas Choral Directors Association, Junior High All-State Choir. The first featured Region 9 vocalist solo from our school for a regional performance. Mason truly knows what leadership researcher and writer Angela Duckworth describes as grit, the passionate perseverance of acquiring a skill set over a long period of time. Mason has grit. These students are incredible. Ladies and gentlemen, Mason Clarkson. Before we get a picture with Ms. Myers, I just want to say that Ms. Garza, his choir teacher, wrote, she said, you know, I knew something was real special when Mason came up to Ms. Garza when Mason was in 3rd grade and said, I can't wait because I'm going to be in your high school choir. You remember that? Yeah. It seems like only yesterday. Ladies and gentlemen, we have some fantastic students here. Would you please give it up one more time for our all-state students from Magnolia ISD. Okay, all you marching band kids, help them play the windows. Look at that. They know how to play the windows. Yay. Thank y'all. Congrats. Congrats.
To compliment or give a shout out to our CTE programs. I know that we have some great career and technology programs at Magnolia ISD, and it looks like the advanced floral design was nice enough to create all of these arrangements tonight for Magnolia West. And we also have a wonderful culinary arts program, and they made us treats tonight. So didn't want to miss giving them a shout out and a thank you tonight. Thank you. Magnolia West.
All right, before I conclude this part of the meeting, I've been saying this for the last few times. Not a lot of people take me up on it, but I encourage folks to hang around because the very first part of the next part of the meeting is actually folks that have signed up to speak. And so you can hear what they have to say, and you can certainly leave as soon as that's over. But I always throw that out there, so if that's something of interest, please stay. This concludes the presentation and recognitions. We will now recess for a 5-minute break so that those of you who would like to take this opportunity to leave may do so. We'll try to keep it to 5. All right, Ms. Hinkleman, I didn't count them and they're not numbered. I have 4. Okay, and this is it? Yes, sir. Okay. All right, so there's something I need to read here before we get started. Participants must have turned in a request form 15 minutes prior to the start of this meeting. That's these. Participation is limited to 3 minutes. A timer is provided on the screen located in front of you. Once your time is up, we ask that you please return to your seat. Any complaint or charge brought against an employee by name opposition for which resolution has not been sought in accordance with policy should be pursued through the district's grievance policy. Please note that the Board of Trustees shall not deliberate, respond, or make decisions regarding any subject that is not included on the agenda that is posted. So at this time, if Ms. Scruggs, who is an MISD resident, would please come to the front.
Good evening, trustees and superintendent. I wanted to talk to you about a very concerning subject tonight, and that subject is some of the books, pornographic books in the libraries in your high schools. I found pornographic books in 2 of your high schools. And according to the Penal Code of 43.24, it is illegal to knowingly sell, distribute, exhibit, display harmful material to a minor. Harmful material in the Penal Code is defined as any material which is patently offensive to prevailing standards in the adult community as a whole with respect to what is suitable for minors. The standards in this community would not look favorably upon having this type of obscene and harmful material in Magnolia ISD libraries. The book I'm talking about is Perks of a Wildflower. You have 2 copies in Magnolia High School and 1 copy in Magnolia High School West. This is a pervasively vulgar book which includes topics such as oral sex, abusive sex, and this is among teens. Assault, masturbation, suicide, abortion, drug overdose, excessive alcohol use. It says on the book rating, and I'll hold it up for you, not for minors. It also has a content warning down here that it's for adults only. So I'm wondering why this book is in your libraries. What are your procedures for checking books into your libraries? I would really like to know. I'm very interested in that. I'm asking that you adhere to the penal codes and that you assess books in your libraries that meet the penal codes of harmful and obscene, pervasively vulgar books and remove them right away. Thank you very much. And I have copies of the book rating and synopsis of the contents of the book.
All right, thank you, Ms. Scruggs. Next we have Ms. Ginger Russell, who is an MISD resident.
Hi, I didn't write out anything to say tonight, but I'm just coming to speak to you. I've been a student of public education for over a decade. Here's a book, the Research Manual, America's Goals, America 2000, Goals 2000, Moving the Nation Educationally to the New World Order. And this is a book, The Marxification of Education. Everything I read in this book, and I have read over the last decade, I see elements of it here in Magnolia ISD. I've tried to highlight those things to y'all over the years, but they seem to fall on deaf ears. One of them being the International Baccalaureate Program. The things incorporated in IB, diversity, equity, and inclusion, are included in your social emotional learning. Inside the Marxification of Education, it talks about the evilness of diversity, equity, and inclusion, and social emotional learning. Both of these are Marxist theories in critical pedagogy that's being implemented in Magnolia ISD. You've esteemed character traits over academics, where a student is taught to elevate empathy, which breaks down their convictions of being a Christian. You now have to have compassion for the homosexual, and you don't see the sin that's taught to these kids at home or at church. And that's a goal. That's a Marxist goal that's been a goal for years. It's outcome-based education. And speaking of outcome-based education, that's where we are today. It's no longer about academics. It's about changing a student's attitudes, values, beliefs, and behavior. And a lot of it is done with adaptive testing, where kids are online, they're doing a screen. How they answer that question will determine the next question, and then the next question. It has an outcome that it wants the student to be, and that's what they're geared toward. And the data that is collected is big money. Kids today in our public schools are human capital. It's data, 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 available to third parties. I will be testifying in front of the Senate Education Committee this week about a lot of this has been going on. I've been speaking out for 10 years. Sadly, most Christians on school boards don't understand it, don't want to understand it. I don't understand, but the complacency is unbelievable. No, it doesn't make a lot of friends. Sometimes standing on truth is hard. Jesus knew that. But I will stand up for the kids, even if it's not my kids. The kids that we run through these school systems today are the product of our country and our nation in the future. And you're seeing the downfall. I listened to a pastor today, and a survey was recently done. More kids in college today view socialism over our capitalistic society. We're on a downward path, and you can see it on the news every day. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Russell. Next, we have Calvin Russell, also an MISD resident.
Hey, thanks for listening. And Dr. Stevens, I had a piece of paper that we gave to you that I'd like for you, at least, I know you can't respond, but I'd like for you to look at it. I too want to talk about the books that we found in the libraries. And when we were made aware of them, Ginger sent you guys a email about the books, and the books they're just so nasty. I mean, this is nothing that you would want to share with your kids, even your spouse. I mean, I'm not a prude. I've been on the other side of the tracks, and I've seen a lot of stuff, but this is the most vile and lewd things that you can think of, and that's why I put it in your hands. I want you to be able to look at it. And whenever Ginger sent you guys a letter, y'all responded with a letter to parents. I'd like to highlight a few things that you said. You said that as educators, it's your responsibility to provide diffusion of knowledge, which includes providing opportunities for students to grow as readers and expand their knowledge base. They don't need to expand their knowledge base in the subjects that are covered in these kind of books. The one that you have, Dr. Steve, I believe, is Earl and the Dying Girl, Me, Earl and Dying Girl. It says that our board administrator believes parents are full partners in the education of children and should be fully informed. And to that end, we created a secure section in our libraries. Books rated young adult and containing more mature content have been placed in those. Well, you say that they need to be fully informed, but I would have to assume that you have not fully informed the parents of some of the verbiages that are in these books, because there's no way that any thinking parent would allow their kids to see these books. But these kids, if they bring a note from home, they can check them out. Well, then they can show them to their other buddies in school. If you were to catch one of the students, one of the teachers, one of your good teachers were to catch a student with one of these books in his hand, showing it to the other students, I can't imagine the trouble that he would be in from the material that's in that book. I checked my wallet when I got here. I have $245, and I will give it to any one of you that will be willing to read what I gave Dr. Stevens to this crowd. You can have it tonight. I know you can't interact with me, but when I'm done, if any one of you will read it, you can have my $245. You got to protect our students.
Next, we have Ms. Christy Baker, an MISD resident.
Good evening, board members. Good to see all of you. I've written my comments out for tonight so I can try to stay within my time limit. As we all know, I can talk for 3 minutes in my sleep. I'd like to talk about why I believe you're all here. I have not served with you, Jay, but I know that you are believed in by the people who are seated with you, so I believe that my comments will apply to you also. I know all of you who I served with are inexhaustible volunteers who continually strive to learn more, support more, protect more, and do more for everyone around you. You spend your days maintaining connections to the students, teachers, and administrators in this district, as well as with local, state, and federal legislators whose decisions affect what happens in Magnolia and beyond. You do this with a willing heart because you know that firsthand information is the only way to prudently make the best decision for the students you love, staff members' jobs, and taxpayers' dollars. Because you remain immersed in the people in schools in Magnolia, you can speak with authority about the truth of what happens in this district. when false statements are made about our phenomenal students, our top-notch staff, and our stellar programs. I believe your intelligence and your loving hearts are the reasons Magnolians continue voting to keep you in your seats. Our community stands behind people who work to build up others, open every possible door for Magnolia children, care for our teachers and staff, and protect our Magnolia way of life, while rejecting those with personal and political agendas that have no place on a public school board. Across the country, this is a difficult time in public education. Activists are working hard to frighten good-hearted people into believing that everything that they might disagree with is actually being done in every public school across the land. The hearts and motivations of educators who have dedicated their lives to caring for children are being questioned in a way that I would have never believed possible. Even this successful board regularly hears from those spreading that same rhetoric. Personal attacks are launched against board members and their families for remaining dedicated to facts and their own firsthand knowledge instead of deferring to information in Google searches sent to them in emails where the sender misspells even their own name. The salvation of board members' immortal souls has even been questioned aloud. I know it can be a difficult project to undertake, but consider it pure joy. As you know, those trials are completing a good work in you and your family members. Your work is very important for all future generations and must remain rooted in reality. I applaud you for not letting anything distract you from the crucial work in front of you. Your steady hand is key to keeping Magnolia values alive in Magnolia schools. We don't expect perfection from you. No one is perfect. What we ask of you is that you continue to make calm, rational, informed decisions and make corrections when they are needed. We will pray for God's hands upon you and your wisdom as you continue to serve our families. Thank you.
Baker. All right, this concludes the public comment section. Next, we have the superintendent report, facilities update. Mr. Bruner.
I believe he has some guests with him.
And guest, will you introduce your guest?
I will. So tonight for the superintendent's report, we're going to focus on Audubon Elementary. As you know, in the next segment of the considered agenda, we're going to be talking about guaranteed maximum price. But before we get to that, PBK Architects, the design team, is here tonight to give you a overview of what we want to build out there. This is a culmination of a lot of work going back to, Phil and I started getting serious about the programming on these schools back in like July. So, contrary to what Dr. Stevens has said, we hadn't been just sitting around waiting on, the next shoe to drop. But anyway,
It's a little give and take here all the time.
And I'm going to let him go through this. This is a great presentation. Thank you.
Okay, this is a little hard to follow with all those good kids tonight. I'm going to tell you that for sure. As I sit there and these kids, man, you guys are doing a great job. This district is unbelievable. So, and so, it was really, I think, real rewarding to me to see all these good kids and how far they really go. But anyway, my name is Phil Rudder with PBK Architects. This is Jeff Chapman, and this is Brandon Goodyear. And so we're here tonight to talk about the Audubon School. So one thing I need to do, thank you, board, for inviting us here tonight. And it's Dr. Stevens, I want to thank you and Tim for all your hard work and your team's all hard work helping us put this job together. So Tim, thank you very much. And Dr. Stevens, tell all your friends and crew that we really appreciate it. So we'll get started with the presentation. I'm going to try to run this thing with this little guy here. So, right there. So this is the agenda for the night. We're going to talk about the site plans, the floor plans, exterior renderings, interior renderings, and we're going to take a little walk around and fly around that school. So we'll start with the floor plans or the site plan. So here's a site plan, and I'm going to try to run this little. The top? Oh, there it is. So this is the site plan for the Audubon School. This road right here is the Audubon Parkway. This is a Trace Parkway. So this is our entrance right in here to the school. The buses are going to come. This doesn't go real fast. Buses are going to come right in here and drop off at this area, and the parents are going to come down Audubon Trace and come down this way and drop off right here. So we have a fence clear around the back of this property for security, and we're going to keep the gates locked at all times and so on and so forth. And so this is really kind of where we started with this site. Obviously, everybody knows this is in the Audubon subdivision. It's a beautiful subdivision. So this is the first floor plan. Kind of talk about, this is the classroom area. We have the classrooms that start from pre-K through first grade on this level. This is the library right here. This is the administration in this area. This is life skills. This is the cafeteria and stage and the gym. So we think this is really a really nice floor plan. It has the advantage of having double loaded corridors. We have the main entrance up here with that is the main entrance down into here. So this site is, and floor plan is very, very, very compact and is really, really a good design, we think. And so we'll kind of go to the second floor. Second floor is the second grade through the fourth grade. So classrooms here, and there's the AP right here, and a little administration area. This is looking down at the library. And so that right there is our stairs, were the learning stairs, and so it's similar to the one we did at Mag Intermediate, and so that's included in this floor plan. So we're going to go to the exterior renderings. Jeff, you want to come? Or Brandon, you want to come?
Right. I want to say I'm happy to meet everyone here. This is my first time at a Magnolia board meeting, and I just want to say it's so humbling to see, such a close-knit community, and the turnout in itself. It was amazing to see all the, like Phil said, just, all the awards being given out, and it was exciting to see, what everything is, what's going on in the district now. So I'm the lead designer for these Magnolia projects, and I've been working with Phil and Tim since July as well, from the very beginning, so it's been a very busy 9 months. So I'm going to quickly run through the exterior renderings really quickly. As Phil said, this is part of the Audubon community development, so we collaborated a lot with that team on the exterior design. They have a lot of very modern taste, a lot of clean lines, interesting uses of materials, and just, simple, clean, but exciting designs. So you can kind of see what the palette we chose was, our typical brick CMU metal panel, but used in slightly different ways. We're showing our field brick is a blend of 2 tones of gray to kind of create some excitement in the field. We have a limestone CMU metal panel to kind of break up some of this rhythm. And also with our entry canopies, to bring some of that Audubon spirit out to the exterior, we have a blue fascia, just to provide some excitement when kids are being dropped off at the bus. And also some exposed structure leading into the main hallway. So here's a more overall view of the front. This is what you would see from the main road. This is the academic wing. You know, lots of windows for daylighting for all the classrooms, and shading structures to provide shade when necessary. Looking at the parent drop-off, this is looking at the cafeteria side, similar to the front entry where the bus would drop off. This has a similar canopy design for parents to drop their kids off to the cafeteria location. Again, we have windows into the cafeteria to provide daylighting, and again, you know, this use of blue fascia to provide some excitement as well as some interesting brick designs. And moving to the courtyard view, this is looking at the space that opens up to the playground. So right now we have kind of a covered area between, you know, when you walk out from the main hallway to the playground, there would be a small area that could serve as an outdoor classroom, providing some shade, you know, in the hot times of the year, right before kids are, you know, running out to the playground. And next is our interior renderings.
Thanks, Brandon. On the inside, the name of the game is fun but durable. And so you can see a bright blue central spine to the library, flanked on either side by our stacked area, surrounded by acoustical panels with some fun blue circles also made out of acoustical material. Moving to the cafeteria, you see that similar theme of the green, yellow, and blue circles, flanking our stage with a bright blue stage curtain and very durable hard tile on the surface, on the flooring surface, and CMU walls for durability. In the gym, we have the same CMU, continuing the gray and the blues with accents of yellow and green. You can see our wall pads, our circles for the kiddos to line up and do their calisthenics, as well as an acoustic ceiling to help minimize noise and allow the teacher to be heard well for instruction. This is our entry vestibule. It's a little bit of a change, moving toward a more secured entrance where the visitor can be identified by in a large window before they get access to even the administration reception area or the main corridor. They're identified, their direction of where they need to go in the building is determined, and then they can either be let into the main school if they're going to go have lunch with little Johnny or little Barbara, or if they need to meet with the principal, then they can be let into the administrative area. So it's a little bit of a change from some of your other schools. And then here's that learning stair right at the heart of the conjunction of the main two corridors leading into the classroom wings. It's large enough to have two classes. There's a marker board there, so it can be used as a class. And you can see a different carpet that aligns a little bit better with this learning stair. And then we have our blue accent on the first floor and our green accent on the second floor. So you can see here the green accent for the second floor classrooms, a little splash of color right when you walk in, an accent wall on the back, and then our 2x2 LED fixtures to minimize maintenance as well.
We're going to walk around the school right here and take a look at it. So just going to ask, does anybody have any questions or comments or anything we can help you with?
I'd like to add a couple things before we take that any further. Just some of the things that I wanted to say are included in this school that we didn't really get much of a chance to talk about, but really is establishing a new standard for any of our schools, but certainly an elementary school. This building includes a very efficient, very flexible mechanical system. We have more flexible space. We have 2 large group instruction rooms in this campus instead of 1. 1 had kind of become the standard, and now it looks like 2 will be, because flexible space is just such a premium at any of these campuses. We've done things like double the number of staff restrooms from just the intermediates that we built a few years ago. We're going to see that at all 3 of the new schools, but certainly in this one. And we have all of our flooring for the first time. We'll have flooring that's all non-wax flooring. So this is something that saves, obviously, the district a lot of time and money down the road and eases the maintenance. So there's a lot of new, kind of new initiatives that we're looking at starting in this building that I think are going to really establish a new standard. So with that, any questions? Okay.
Questions, but beautiful work. It just looks like a beautiful school, and I'm excited.
Thank you. It's going to be a very good school.
Well, I just want to add a word of thanks to the PBK team and, the work that we've had. We've had a long-standing history in Magnolia ISD, but I think you guys have upped the bar. We got a beautiful design. I mean, obviously now we got to find a builder that can pull all this off, at some point, but keep our fingers crossed on all that. But yeah, I don't know whether any of y'all have been in and out of the Audubon and seen some of the homes that are going up there, but we've done a great job of matching, a lot of the architecture and the style and the colors and everything that are in there. I mean, it almost looks lockstep to it, but I think it's going to be a gorgeous school and it's a new direction. It's first 2-story elementary we've had, but I think it'll, again, as Tim said, it's going to set a new standard on some of this. So thank you guys for the work. I know there's still a lot of work yet to come with this, but it's a great place to kick off.
Okay. All right.
Dr. Stevens, Board, thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thank
guys.
y'all.
All right, moving on to our consent agenda. This portion of the agenda consists of items to be routine and will be enacted by one motion unless separate discussion is requested. Did everybody get a chance to look at the consent agenda? Anybody have any questions? If there aren't any questions, then I need a motion that the board approve consent agenda items A through D. Motion by Sonia, seconded by Jay. All in favor? Motion carries. All right, next, considered agenda. Mr. Bruner, you're back up.
Yeah, so this is kind of part 2 of this presentation, is to kind of give you an idea of where we're at design-wise, and then talk about the hard work that's been going on since we brought on B&C Constructors, who's represented here tonight with their owners, Charles and Jared. And, we brought them on back, right before the bond passed, and so they got heavily involved early on, including, getting together with us, meeting, talking about what we needed to get going right away, and we released some early packages and ordered some equipment that we badly needed to get because of the long lead times. And then, they just recently completed pricing of this project. We got great participation from subcontractors from all over Houston, as expected. For whatever reason, folks want to come up here and work. I think it has something to do with the designs, the culture that we have here. Our business office pays them quickly. That's very important. Things like that draw good subs. So tonight, we want to bring to you a guaranteed maximum price for this project. But I'd be remiss if I didn't thank a few folks, because there was a lot of involvement in this project up to this point, including Dr. Bullitt, Dr. King, Dr. Garza, the early programming, principals that were involved in the review process, Coach Burnham, Bob Medina, Fine Arts, Dr. Petty with SPED, Brad Reppelt, Technology, and his staff have done a fantastic job. Kimberly Ollendorf, Food Services, and of course PBK and BNC. And Dr. Stevens as well. I have to say his steady hand was a big part of this as well. But tonight we're bringing a guaranteed maximum price of $33,514,542.62. And this is roughly about $1 million under budget.
So it is under what we had, a little bit under what we had guessed.
Yeah, we actually, after taking 15% pay for fees and FF&E and things like that, we're really right around 34.8. I went ahead and kind of knocked it down a little bit to 34.5, and established that as our construction budget. So that's what we went in hoping to hit, and we are very close to $1 million under that.
That's good. Does anybody have any questions for Tim?
And that price looks very competitive from what we're seeing around the state of Texas, other projects.
Yes, as a matter of fact, it's again, depending on a lot of factors, it's higher than some, it's lower than many, and it's certainly lower than what we had projected when we first started establishing these budgets as far back as March and April. When we first started having
Things were
readings.
very, in flux at that point from some of the market.
It was an unsure time, and we did our best to kind of project out, and we've fallen, in that sort of range that we had anticipated, anywhere from 300 to 330, maybe 340 was the expected cost with the increases the way they were going. Now, if things flattened down a little bit, yes, they had. And I guess it's better to be lucky sometimes than good. We seem to have hit it at the right time.
So Tim, I know in the past as we've built elementary schools, you've taken the learnings from each one as you built it, because we used a similar plan for a few of them. This one looks, and Jay said it, and I see it too, it looks like a little bit like the intermediate. And so, my question is, I know we haven't been in that building a long time, but were you able to take some of the things that you've learned now that that building's up and standing and kiddos and our staff is using it and implement into this?
Absolutely. It's a lot of things that I just spoke of.
I figured.
Talking
The
about,
tile.
increased flexible space and having more staff restrooms. One of the things that we followed up on is having the staff workrooms in sort of each grade level, because that's been extremely popular at the intermediate schools. Again, the flooring's been an ongoing learning process for me as it is, but we added some office space, and of course we were mandated to increase some of the classroom space.
Right.
So the building, this building floor plan, as efficient as it is, still grew by about 6,000 square feet over the last elementary build, which was Parkway. So, but that's keeping it to a minimum. I mean, I think we did a pretty good job. And yes, what we learned from Magnolia Intermediate in particular is that's an extremely efficient design.
Yeah, I know that because we talked about the state had changed the bar as far as, how many square feet per student, I believe is the way that was quoted to us. And so the states who raised that number.
And I should mention that this building includes and exceeds all the latest TEA security guidelines, from door access to the security vestibule that you saw, the fencing requirements that create a secured environment in the playground, even some of the things like having the knowledge of when a door's left open, getting alerts to the staff about those things. Those aren't really required in the TEA guidelines now, but they're certainly recommended, and we're going to have all of those options available for the this school and the other two.
Right. My last question is timing. Are we still looking good for when we hope to have that open and?
Hey, you know, and
I'm
this,
thinking that's one of the real important things too, right?
I think this is a great place just to interject a little bit about BNC, but I want to say again that we're so excited to have BNC Construction on this project, and it is right now a showcase project. It's got a timeline on it, so and it's like we talked about today that, you know, we get this guaranteed maximum price, and it's time to turn you guys loose. I don't know whether Audubon will have anything to say about that, but we got to get started on it. But Charles and Jared, we're excited, going to turn you loose on this, and we know we're expecting some great things to happen out there at that site.
I've been to the site.
We are still involved in the architectural review process with Audubon Development, but we have gotten approval on our site. These guys are in possession of a site permit from the county, and we're getting very close, I think, on the building permit. That's sort of an any day now. So yeah, I don't think we're going to hold back. I think we're going to get started and start rolling. If somebody comes out and waves their hands and says stop, we may consider it.
We just say the Board of Trustees in Magnolia say get after it.
We're going to get started with the early release packages and ordering some of the long lead items. You know, we firmed up that our pad mount transformers on order. That's another long lead item. But those things, with the schedule we have on those, we feel confident that we get started basically right away, that we should bring this thing in time for us to comfortably move in and open school in August next year.
Next year, 24. So, all right. Does anybody else have any?
So Tim, I have a question on landscape architecture. Is that part of the plan, the bid that you talked about here, or is that completely separate?
So good question, and I'll give you a quick answer. And this is kind of typical of the approach we take. Instead of trying to design the landscaping and get it in the drawings now, we usually do that later. And what we do is we set up an allowance in the guaranteed maximum price for the landscaping and irrigation. And we usually, you know, we've got an adequate amount of money. As a matter of fact, if you have the breakdown of the GMP, I included this with the package. But anyway, it'll show you all the different allowances, and it includes one for landscaping and irrigation. We'll certainly, I feel confident that we have a good sum of money included in this guaranteed maximum price to address that. We just haven't designed it yet.
Fair enough. In looking at the surrounding land, it's all forested. Is this property already cleared?
Yes.
That's all.
Yeah, and it ties in, the property right next to it, there's a park, and so that whole area between school and park will, you know, is all going to kind of tie in together, and I think some of the sidewalks and landscaping will all tie together as a part of that area.
They had to build it up, so that's why it's cleared. They built it up quite a bit. All right. Anybody else have any?
And just, if you could remind us, the water situation, is that on a well then, at this location?
So what happened was, obviously, with the city and their situation, constructing their new water plants, Mr. Yeager, Audubon Development, found it in their best interest, because they do have a utility district out there, to go ahead and build his own water plant. So he approached us, and, you know, we basically agreed to enter into an agreement with his mud, Audubon's mud, and purchase water from their water plant. And so that's where we're at.
Okay.
Where that goes in the future, you know, I don't know. But we have a temporary water tap, or a construction water tap, if you will, I think a 2-inch line, which we think will be sufficient to get us through the construction phase. But I think Audubon's water plant is scheduled to come online either late summer, early fall, so there should be plenty of time to meet our needs.
Great, thank you.
All right. All right, if there aren't any more questions, then I need a motion that we approve a guaranteed maximum price of $33,514,542.62 for the construction of Audubon Elementary School as presented by B and C constructors. Motion by Jay, seconded by Travis. All in favor? Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Brenner.
Thank you. And thank you guys for coming out. Appreciate y'all being here. So the board will now recess to move into closed executive session for the purposes permitted by pursuant to Texas Government Code 551.071, consultation with attorney pursuant to Texas Government Code 551.072, discussion of purchase, sale, exchange, or value of real property, and pursuant to Texas Government Code 551.074, personnel discussions. All right, I need a motion that we adjourn this meeting. Motion by Travis, seconded by Sonia. All in favor? Motion carries. Meeting adjourned.